What's up, you guys? I did a video recently about what I eat in a day, and I wanted to do a companion video to that video where I break down what I eat in a day on Cronometer and show you all of the nutrients in my animal-based diet. I have 2 days of my animal-based eating recorded here, and I'm gonna go through all of that on Cronometer and show you what I eat in a day on that app with all the nutrients, the macros, etc. At the new website at carnivoremd.com, there's a calculator there that's free where you can put in your weight, your activity level, and it'll give you a suggestion of macros to create an animal-based diet. Before I dive in, I wanna show you a couple of clips from my What I Eat in a Day video, and then we'll go to Cronometer. I'm gonna show you what I eat in a day. Raw organic honey, drink a coconut, and then for my first full meal of the day, it starts with a smoothie. Then I have about a pound of grass-fed ground beef. The sourcing of the meat is very important to me. Organs, meat, fruit, honey, raw dairy, basically twice a day at both of my main meals. A little bit of fruit as a snack. Today I'm having some local organic pineapple. It's about 4:30. I like to finish eating by 5 p.m. Grass-fed ribeye steak can make ground beef the majority of what you eat also. Whole package from Heart and Soil Supplements with dinner that has desiccated testicle in it. I'm gonna have some raw butter with my steak. The rest of that organic pineapple from the local fruit guy. It breaks down into around 200 grams of protein, around 250 grams of carbohydrates, and around 150 to 160 grams of fat. So that's what I eat in a day. I never get sick of this. I look forward to it every day. Time for dinner tonight. We'll do it all again tomorrow. All right, to Cronometer we go. So you can see here, this is a sample day that I put October the 10th, 2022. And everything I ate in that day is here. I ate a banana with some whole milk, a raw pineapple. That was part of my kefir smoothie in the morning. I have some salt, that's low microplastic sea salt. I eat honey in the morning before I surf, and also a little bit in the smoothie. I have 80-20 ground beef. I eat about 300 grams in the morning, 300 grams at night. I have some raw liver, about an ounce a day. I eat many tablespoons of raw butter. I have beef heart, raw or cooked. I have some bone broth. They call it boned broth. I don't know if it's bone broth or boned broth. I have some coconuts that I drink, a papaya, have some Heart and Soil Supplements. In the morning on that day, I had some bone marrow and liver. I think it's pretty cool that Cronometer actually lets you put Heart and Soil in there. I had some bone marrow, and the only bone marrow on Cronometer was caribou, so that's what I put there. Ground beef, 300 more grams at dinner, a raw egg yolk at some point during the day, a plantain that I cooked with some more butter and some sea salt. That's about my whole day of eating, and you'll see that in the video on what I eat in a day. Cronometer also lets you put in a couple of hours of surfing, which I rated as hard. Now, the first thing you'll notice here is that the amount of calories I have is enormous. 3,791 calories. And I only burned 2,535 calories. That's, I guess, somehow Cronometer is calculating my basal metabolic rate. By these calculations, I should be gaining weight every day to the tune of multiple pounds of fat per week, which is not the case because I am 5'9" and a half. I weigh 164 to 165 pounds every single day. I weigh myself after I poop in the morning. So I have a higher basal metabolism than Cronometer thinks I do, which is not surprising. I'll talk about that a little bit in this video. You can see total energy. The protein breakdown here is 176 grams, right about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, which is what I recommend. My carbs were 247 grams, and my fat was 230 grams of fat. There's no seed oils here because seed oils are bullshit. You guys know it. So let's look at the nutrients here. You can see in terms of the vitamins, at least the one that Cronometer shows, I'm fine on thiamine. I have lots of riboflavin. Heart and liver are the best sources of riboflavin. And so I want to get the organs for the riboflavin. If you're not getting organs, you're probably not getting enough riboflavin, critical for methylation. There's really good research showing that the MTHFR enzyme in people who have MTHFR polymorphisms works better if you get a little more riboflavin than the RDA. I happen to have a 677C to T polymorphism in my own MTHFR, and so I like to get a lot of riboflavin in my diet. It's saying niacin is red because it's saying I'm getting too much. That's just because I'm eating meat, but all these are green. So I'm getting plenty of B6. I'm getting plenty of B5, pantothenic acid. I'm getting a massive amount of B12. No vegans can say that. I'm getting lots of folate. I'm getting tons of vitamin A from the liver. I'm getting lots of vitamin C from the fruit that I eat. And it says I'm not getting enough vitamin D. Well, I don't want to get vitamin D from my foods. I get vitamin D from the sun. And it's telling me I'm not getting enough vitamin E, which is false because when I've done my blood work, my vitamin E levels are just fine. I think that Cronometer and the databases that are used for this are often miscalculating vitamin E because we don't understand that vitamin E is an animal fat. So I've very clearly shown on previous podcasts that when I check my vitamin E, it's a robust level. There's vitamin E in animal fat, but so many of these databases don't understand this. My vitamin K is good, but if you look at the information on vitamin K here, it'll tell you that sources are spinach, kale, leafy greens, sweet potatoes, and avocados. That's for vitamin K1, but unfortunately, what these databases also leave out, I think this is probably based on the USDA database, is vitamin K2. When I went on the doctor's TV show, they said, "Where's the vitamin K in your diet?" I was eating strict carnivore, and I looked at them incredulous, thinking, you guys don't even understand that there's a nutrient called vitamin K2 that exists and that has been associated with decreased rates of calcific aortic sclerosis, calcification of the aortic valve, decreased rates of cardiovascular disease in the Rotterdam study. So many people don't understand there's vitamin K1 and K2, and I'm obviously getting a ton of vitamin K1. And if you look at the breakdown here, it'll tell you where I'm getting the vitamin K. This says that hardened soil, bone marrow, and liver has 110% of the RDA for vitamin K in a day. It probably has a lot of vitamin K2 in the bone marrow and the liver. So hopefully it's getting some of that vitamin K2 in this calculation as well. You can see in terms of minerals here, I've got calcium, 77% of my calcium from the milk, from the kefir, the raw fermented milk. Got plenty of copper, which is balanced by zinc down here. Liver is a rich source of copper. A lot of people are actually deficient in copper. Getting tons of iron. I'm getting plenty of magnesium. I'm over the RDA for manganese. I got phosphorus. I got potassium. I got selenium. It's telling me I'm getting too much sodium, but you and I both know that 6 to 7 grams of salt, or around 4,000 milligrams. I guess on this day I had about 10 grams of salt, so I had around 4,700 milligrams of sodium. That works really well for a lot of people. The RDAs for sodium are way too low. So first thing to point out is that with this animal-based diet, you're gonna get all of the nutrients you need. You can flip back over here to the protein side. I find this really interesting. Look at the amount of leucine that I'm getting in a day, 12.7 grams of leucine in a day. I think that's really important. What we know is that you need 110 milligrams of leucine per kilogram of body weight to get the optimal amount of muscle protein synthesis. I don't fear leucine. I don't fear mTOR activation. We know that as we age, the response of muscle to resistance exercise or leucine-induced muscle protein synthesis is declining. And how do you get 110 milligrams per kilogram of leucine in a day? For me, that would be 7.5 grams. You eat meat. So eating the amount of meat and organs that I'm getting in a day, I'm getting plenty of leucine to trigger all the optimal muscle protein synthesis that I need. I did a separate podcast on longevity, if you guys want to go deeper down this rabbit hole, where I directly address and work to provide a case against the mainstream case now in the longevity community that you can be either optimal or you can live long. I think that's bullshit. And there's a longevity podcast on that in my podcast, which is called Fundamental Health, which is also here on YouTube. You can see here in terms of the lipids, I only got 5.5 grams of omega-6 on this day only. If you do the calculation, that's around 1.3% of my daily calories. I don't want to get a lot of linoleic acid in my diet. There are no seed oils in my diet, and I want to keep the percentage of omega-6 fatty acids, specifically linoleic acid, below 2% of my calories. That's consistent with what we see in hunter-gatherer groups. I think that if you push that percentage of linoleic acid too high, that is where human metabolism starts to break. So you can see here, I have a small amount of omega-6 in my diet. And on the other day I calculated, I did not eat an egg yolk, and that omega-6 is going to be even lower. It's telling me I'm getting only 73% of my omega-3s, but I don't think that Cronometer and the USDA database on which it is based appreciates the fact that there are lots of good omega-3 fatty acids in animal fats. These are often ignored. It's telling me I'm not getting enough fiber. You guys all know that I think getting tons of fiber is bullshit. I'm getting fiber in the fruit that I'm eating, but I don't need more fiber in my diet, nor am I interested in getting massive amounts of fiber. I do poop every day, usually once a day. It's an easy poop. I want to compare that past day to October 21st, which is another day. And you can see here, things are pretty similar, even less omega-6 when I don't eat an egg yolk, about the same amount of omega-3s. Everything else is about the same. The only real differences on this day were that I didn't eat raw egg, but everything was pretty similar. I had the same smoothie in the morning, coconut water from a coconut, papaya, pineapple. On this day, I had whole package from Heart and Soil Supplements because I wanted a little testicle in my life. I also surfed for 2 hours. And you can see on this day, I had 3,500 calories and I only burned 2,535. Again, I'm in a caloric surplus every single day, but I don't gain weight. So my basal metabolic rate is clearly higher than what most people would believe it to be for a 5'9" individual who weighs 165 pounds. I think that's because I'm overall very healthy. My thyroid hormones are good. My testosterone levels are good. I've spoken about those in previous podcasts, looking at my hormone levels and my labs. And I don't eat a lot of seed oils. There's some very interesting research that people have talked about. It's predominantly in animal models, suggesting that when you consume omega-6 fatty acids, specifically seed oils, linoleic acid, these may have a negative effect on your metabolism. We don't know this for sure, and we need more research to really clarify this. There's also evidence that polyunsaturated fatty acids like linoleic acid may inhibit both the production of T3, the conversion from T4 to T3, the binding of T3 at the level of the nuclear receptor, and the binding of thyroglobulin T4 to the thyroglobulin transport protein. So as I said, most of these are in animal studies or in cell culture, but there's a real compelling hypothesis here that excess seed oils in the diet, or any seed oils in the diet, any amount of linoleic acid above perhaps 2% of your diet, may be contributing to problems with your basal metabolic rate, lowering the ability of your thyroid hormones to do their job. So this is not a good thing. Yet another reason to avoid seed oils in your diet. So that is a quick breakdown for you guys of what I eat in a day, looking at Cronometer, looking at the nutrients in my diet, which are all adequate on this diet. There's none of the nutrients that are missing. Many of the nutrients in there are actually left out. There's no calculation on Cronometer for anserine, taurine, carnitine, creatine. There's nothing in there for biotin, which I'm going to get from liver. There's nothing in there for things like coenzyme Q10, which is rich in muscle meat and heart. So Cronometer is a pretty good place to start, but I wanted to show you how my animal-based diet, number one, breaks down in terms of macros. Again, you can go to carnivoremd.com to calculate what macros might be good for you on an animal-based diet based on your goals, your weight, how active you are. And you can see that I have a caloric surplus every day, according to what most people might think my metabolism would be. But there are multiple factors about the way that I'm living that I believe allow me to defy the norm, whether that's an avoidance of seed oils and a thyroidal hormone axis that keeps the basal metabolism higher than a quote unquote normal, not so normal person who is slightly metabolically unhealthy, or it's the fact that I get plenty of vitamin D, or it's just the fact that when you eat certain foods like this, your metabolism works well. I'll just share one study in this short video. What we know very clearly is that ultra-processed diets, obviously I'm eating an unprocessed diet, cause excess calorie intake and weight gain. This is a inpatient randomized controlled trial of ad libitum food intake from Kevin Hall's group. It's such an interesting trial because they had 20 weight stable adults. They put one half of the group for 2 weeks on an ultra processed diet and one half of the group on an unprocessed diet. As they say here, meals were designed to be matched for presented calories, energy density, macronutrients, sugar and sodium and fiber. And what happened? Well, the people who had the ultra processed foods just ate more because they were consistently more hungry. They kept looking for more food. You can see here in this basic graph that the body weight of the ultra processed group went up about 1 kilogram in 2 weeks, so about 2 pounds, and the unprocessed group just lost weight easily. So there's a lot to be said about this. The ultra-processed group consistently ate more calories throughout the 2 weeks, and the unprocessed group ate less calories. As you saw from my Cronometer, I'm eating quite a bit of calories, more than either of the groups in this trial, and yet my weight is stable and I remain very lean. So the takeaway from this is, number one, an animal-based diet has all the nutrients you need to thrive. Number two, the macros I presented here are how I do it. Number three, I believe that if you eat unprocessed foods and real food, your metabolism will work well and you will lose weight effortlessly. All right, guys, hopefully that's helpful.